Welcome to the Open to Hope Show. I'm your host, Dr. Gloria Horsley, with my daughter and co-host,
Dr. Heidi Horsley.
This show is brought to you by the Open to Hope Foundation as well as the Soaring Spirits Foundation. Well, today, Heidi, we've got a great show on spouse loss, don't we?
We are going to be speaking today with Audrey Pellicano. Audrey is a health counselor and educator, and she's the facilitator for Death Cafe. And we are going to also be speaking with Rabbi Sirkman, who is a senior rabbi at Larchmont Temple.
Yeah.
He's a bereaved spouse.
Welcome to all of you on the show today. We're going to talk a little bit with the rabbi and with Audrey about spouse loss, because you both lost a spouse. I know, Audrey, for you it was quite a while ago.
It was my baby's 25, so it was 25 years ago that Joe died.
And you had 4 kids.
I did. I had a 2-year-old, a 2-month-old, a 2-year-old, a 4-year-old, and a 6-year-old.
Wow, you've got 4 little kids,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden you find yourself without a husband.
Well, it was sudden, because death is sudden, no matter how much you know may happen. But Joe was diagnosed with leukemia 6 months after we were married. We made the choice to live life, to be a family, and create a family.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, we didn't have the miracle we had hoped for, and 7.5 years later, Joe died.
Wow.
So, but they are my best friends now, all grown up. Been through a lot together.
And Rabbi, your wife died how long ago?
A year and a half ago. A year and a half ago. So it's still fresh. The process of grieving and embracing life is a journey.
I know you were a nurse.
Yes.
And you're a rabbi. You've worked with grief and loss. You've worked with families. You've counseled them.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, is it different when it happens to you?
It is. And I think in Joe's death, I think it's just made me so much more empathetic. Something that even though I felt, I think I'm very empathic, but after going through that experience, and even 25 years later, still feeling just a connection with people having to go through grief and loss.
I realized that it's about presence. It's about being present in the moment. It's about being there in that moment. And to me, the people that really were helpful and hopeful were the people that were able to allow me to mourn, to grieve, to experience without judging it, and also to embrace that with me.
Is there anything that you wish you had known that you know now? I would have loved to have known that I would definitely find hope again, and that my life would be full of meaning and positive, and it would be a really good life again.
I knew
because
that
early on I wasn't too sure.
I had always tried to be in the now.
Yeah.
I think I knew, because my time was limited with Joe. I think that really made a big difference, and I really wasn't expecting other people to make it better, because that wasn't going to happen. The one thing that I realized, and part of the reason why, not that Death Cafe is a support group,
talk
it's
about
not,
the Death Cafe.
But it's about having that conversation, opening up that, quote, taboo, where people don't back away from you, but people are really into, I want to talk about this subject because it's not an option. Death Cafe is really kind of a social movement that I started one in New York over 3 years ago. A friend of mine who was a hospice social worker told me she was starting one. After hearing about it, it was started by John Underwood in England. And with my own experience of my husband being ill for 7.5 years, but never speaking about his death. So I never knew what he wanted for me after his death, and I never knew what he wanted for his children. And so that was a big void. And then more recently losing my father, same, don't want to talk about death. We have to talk about death. So I thought Death Cafe, it can be philosophical, but what people bring to Death Cafe is whatever they need to speak about around death. And we have a conversation, and there is no agenda, and there is no judgment. Talk about death. So
my ability to be in a congregation of 800 plus loving households, I talk about my wife all the time.
Yes.
I did before, and I do now. I talk about my wife. So it reaffirms her legacy and her memory, and it brings her along with me and with us.
Service does really help.
People think I'm crazy, 'cause I talk to you this way. Oh, but you amaze me. with the words I feel you say. You're the inspiration that keeps me strong. I know you're just beyond my touch.